right. Hey guys, welcome back to the Girlfriends and Goals podcast YouTube channel. My name is Samaria, and today I'm actually joined by MFoz because Miosha's not here, but she will be back. And we are going to review Married at First Sight season 16, episode 8. But before we jump into that, please make sure you are subscribed to our channel and you give this a thumbs up. Also, comment down below all of your thoughts about all of the couples because we enjoy reading them. All right. So let us dive into Nicole and Chris.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. I want to start with your thoughts on them as a couple.
Okay.
Okay.
So I came into this episode with almost opposite opinions about every couple. And then this episode was a huge turning point for me where I've flip-flopped on almost everybody except for Nicole and Chris.
Okay.
So I still feel the same about Nicole and Chris, which is I feel positive about them. I think that they have a good chance of making it. I really liked how in last week's episode, they kind of navigated the dog situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have a little bit of a warning sign, and that was amplified this week, that I think Nicole is starting to develop a stuffing of how she actually feels instead of being very honest and upfront. And I think she wants to protect and please Chris so much that I don't know that her own needs and concerns are being heard.
I absolutely agree. And a lot of people on last week's episode were commenting that he manipulated her with the dog situation. And I was like, oh no, he did it. But this week when I don't want to say he got his way because it's a marriage and it shouldn't be that way.
That's right. That's right.
Essentially, when he got what he wanted and she was singing a different tune when Pastor Cal came, I was like, okay, we have to put this. I think this one was worth fighting for. Living in separate places as a married couple, I just think is a little bit concerning.
Yeah. And I think she's taking that as a warning sign.
Yeah.
I think that's how she's reading his side of the conversation.
Like a warning that he might not be all in.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I take it too. I was surprised by that.
Yeah, I think that he's all I think that she believes that he is still all in, but I don't know if it's like a 100% all in or if it's like a 99% all in. You know? So, I will say this, I had more anxiety about Charlie meeting Kobe and Coda than I have all season. I was stressed out. I was like, what if these dogs hate each other? It's the end.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the end.
Especially after last season and how that went.
Exactly. So I was like, oh, please let them get along. And they did. They appeared to get along just fine.
Yeah.
I did think it was funny how Nicole was like, well, that's because Charlie.
Yeah, I know. That was hilarious. That was hilarious. She's like, yeah, he's a good boy. He's well trained.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I was like, if I hear, oh, see, it's your mama, it's your daddy one more time, like I was a little bit over that whole, like, okay, we get it. You know, you're a dog mom, he's a dog dad, but the mom and dad thing, I had enough. Yeah, like, relax. Oh man. Okay. What else? Pastor Cal came to visit them.
He did.
I thought that was very interesting. I feel like every piece of advice he gave, they were just like, okay, thanks, but no thanks. Like, I know what he said, but we're gonna do what we want. I was like, oh God.
Listen, I feel like this is a new and improved Pastor Cal. Like he has ramped up the realness this season. And maybe it's because he's starting to really settle into it just being him and Dr. Pepper.
Maybe.
But I don't know. Pastor Cal was like, I'm not here for the foolishness. I'm going to tell you what I really think.
Yeah.
I don't care if you like it or you don't. I'm just ripping the Band-Aids off over here. So I like this new Pastor Cal.
I do too, especially after so many failed couples. Like I
know.
and I don't know how often we're going to see Pastor Cal this season, but I
Yeah.
think he needs to show up more. And when he does
Mhm.
visit, the visit needs to have some type of impact. So I was glad with how
Yeah.
he handled a lot of things with the couples this visit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
Okay, let me see if there was anything else I had. So yeah, he asked her about the decision day stuff, and
Yeah.
he dug a
He
little
was
bit
like, "Knock it off. Don't do that. Don't do that."
we've never seen that succeed. So Steve and Noy did it. I don't know if did any other
Mhm.
couples do it, but it just
Mm,
doesn't seem to work. I do understand the concern with his
yeah,
lease being up immediately, but like you don't have any family or friends. I don't. It
right.
just feels weird to me.
Yeah. Yep, don't do that.
Yeah. If
Ugh,
I were Nicole, I would not settle for that. But
no. But
yeah,
I think they have honestly, out of everybody, I feel like they've got the best shot at this
they
point. If this is a horse race,
do.
I feel I feel like they might actually finish the race.
Yeah. Even if
Yeah.
she asks him every day, like, are you gonna say yes on decision day?
I feel confident that she's gonna keep doing that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It is
Yeah.
stand a chance. Like as soon as Pastor Cal's like, well, let's look into why you're doing that. She's like, I don't care. I'm
Yeah.
still doing
Yeah, okay. Thanks.
it.
Thank you for your input.
Right, exactly.
Click.
Oh man. Okay. So that's all I have on them.
Yeah, not a whole lot to say about them.
Okay, cool. So Kirsten and Shaq, which they didn't show
Oh.
Shaq's like apartment tour. They
I
only
know, I was like, "Did I miss something?" I was like, "Let
right.
me."
I
No,
wanted to
okay.
see,
I'm
but
so glad you said that because I was really bugging out like, "Oh, I missed it."
right. What do you
Okay.
think about them as a couple? Because people in the comments make fun of me because I'm trying to be Team Kirsten, or I have been trying to be Team Kirsten, and give her a chance,
Yeah.
but it,
Okay. Well, but so is everybody team Shaq here then?
yeah, and I'm also Team Shaq. I just think we need to
Okay.
give
Well,
Kirsten a
then
little bit
this
of
might be a spicy, this is a hot take then.
grace. Okay.
So I think, so do you remember it was a couple of episodes ago
Mhm.
when when Kirsten was having a conversation with him and saying like, I think it might have even been the first or the second episode where she was like, stop giving me the representative. Like,
Yes.
I feel like this is very Mr. Polished, Mr. Professional,
Yeah.
Mr. PhD. Like, and I get it that
Hmm.
he has to the code switching is substantial here, I feel like, for Shaquille. And so I get that I can imagine a world where he probably thought about this scenario and was saying, okay, I'm living this polished professional vibe
Yeah.
every day of my life. It's fine for me to just have a camera around. But I think in the last couple of episodes, like towards the middle of the honeymoon to the end and to where they are now,
Hmm.
I think the real Shaquille is starting to come through.
Oh yeah.
And he's a little less, I think the reality of Shaquille is a little less um, buttoned up.
Polished and
And
yeah.
mhm. So I think that we are still getting his representative for the most part. I definitely think he presented Pastor Cal with the representative,
Ooh.
but that that conversation where Kirsten was trying to tell him, you don't have to be joking around all the time. She appeared to me to be so calm
Yeah.
and so almost to a fault, but like she wasn't aggressive with him at all. She was just very calmly, very plainly stating how she felt. And he wasn't listening to her at all. He
At all.
hooked onto what's a little bit. What do you mean a little? What's a little? What's a little? He wasn't even listening to her. And I was like, what's happening?
Yes.
Right. So I think that's that felt to me like the real Shaquille.
Mm.
And her patience. So again, I came into this episode with a very different vibe on this couple. But
Okay.
after this episode, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I might be switching a little bit. I might be more in favor of how Kirsten is handling this situation.
Yeah, so Miosha and I were talking about that, and she felt like Kirsten was lecturing him. I was a fan of how
Oh,
Kirsten handled the situation,
yeah.
and I
Yeah.
said, I don't know what he drank when they were doing that boys hangout, but he came back with energy. Like
He sure did.
he
He
came back
sure did.
very strong
Yeah.
with the energy. And so I liked how she handled it, and I think they were able to resolve it in the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody didn't feel that way.
Okay, well, that's where I'm at. That's where
Yeah.
I'm at with it.
Do you think
Although,
they stand a chance?
uh, I think there is a chance.
Okay.
They are behind Nicole and Chris, but I think out of everybody else, they're like second place
Yeah.
in my mind. Um, I I think she okay, two things.
Mhm.
I think she is putting all of her energy. So the seeing her closet sent me. That was not a good experience for me. I was deeply uncomfortable.
Really?
Seeing her closet. I'm a Virgo, like that sent me. But but I think she puts all of her energy into keeping that calm, even tone
Mhm.
with people. Even when it was wedding day and her mom was straight up MIA,
Yeah, right.
she was so calm about it. So I'm like, who can do that?
Yeah.
So now I get it. It's like she's channeling all energies from all parts of her world into that. And that leaves no energy left over for her nest and her surroundings, right? She's just focusing all of that energy.
Yeah.
Um, so that's one thing. And then the second thing is, I think she said what she said when she said there's no
No
chemistry.
chemistry. I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she said what she said. And Pastor Cal was like, well, and
Right.
Shaquille
And
was like, and she
she's
was
like,
like,
yeah, maybe a little bit, but it still
okay,
wasn't convincing. Like
no,
she feels like there's no chemistry. So
no. And she knew that the second she came down the aisle, she was like,
he had a
nope,
bald head.
bald head. I'm out.
Do you feel like she's trying to I feel like she's trying to reconcile it. I think she wants this to work, but I don't know with her. She holds her cards so close to her chest.
So
I don't think
close.
we'll ever, and then he's doing his representative thing. So with
Correct.
those two, I don't think we'll ever know
I don't
what's
either.
going on with them. Yeah.
I don't either. But I think she is deeply spiritual, and I think she has a really strong like moral compass,
Yeah.
and I think she's here because she believes it's the right thing to do, not just for herself,
Yeah.
but for the show. I feel like she's thinking about that. And
Yeah.
so she's like, I'm going to be here, I'm going to do my part, I'm going to
Mhm.
try, but
Yeah.
she mm-mm,
It's really
mm-mm.
interesting that her home looks the way that it does. It is so bare, and I feel
It's
like
like 20,000 pillows
yeah, but
on the
no
bed,
no
but
nightstand.
nothing like, but the bed frame that goes like your mattress is too small.
Yeah, he's like,
Baby
"Where do you put
girl.
your phone?" On the bed. So it's very bare, and I feel like that's a little bit of what she's been showing us, like
Yeah.
just kind of bare. She hasn't shown a lot of her personality.
No,
And I'm just like, does she? I'm sure she has one.
I agree.
I just think they're very, I don't want to say calculated, but those two, they're just
They are
really,
very calculated. Yes.
yeah. So,
This is math for them.
yes.
This is mathematics. I don't know. Like I get a strong personality in Shaquille that I think he is trying to control for
Yeah.
the show.
Yeah.
I get the exact opposite for her. Like she might be trying to like ramp it up for the show.
You know
But
what
you know
was,
what? She's so beautiful. She is becoming more beautiful to me every week. I'm like, she's just gorgeous.
yeah.
But
I thought
I
it
don't
was
know.
so funny that they were dressed up like they were going to Sunday school or church or somewhere. Pastor Cal came, like she had her church dress on, he had his church clothes on. I'm like,
I go to
everybody
church.
else was like, just very casual, not them. They were
Yeah.
president and
No,
first lady. Like,
they had on their Sunday go to meeting clothes.
yes, they
They were
took
so
the
cute.
pastor very seriously.
They sure did. They were
Yeah.
like, no, we're meeting with the pastor.
Yes. So Pastor Cal talked about the whole like, oh, my wife doesn't really like my jokes, which I get, but I still think the type of
Yeah.
joke, because they did only show us one that
Right.
Shakir was making, I would have probably felt a way about as well.
Yep.
And I think, I don't know with them. I want them
Yeah.
to work. I'll say
I
that.
do too. I do too. I don't think they're going to. I think
Yeah.
we have a possibility for a 5 out of 5. I do not kind of situation here.
Ooh.
Although I said that about Boston too, I think. And
Oh,
did we ultimately have 5 out of 5
yeah,
say no?
because
Yeah.
they're
Like we left with nobody out of Boston. So
yeah.
yeah,
We
maybe I
don't
was
have
right
it.
about that.
Oh yeah,
But it,
that was the crew that said yes. Like everybody said yes to each other.
correct. And I was shocked and I was like, wait, what? You do? No, you don't.
Should have never
You do
happened.
not.
Should have never happened.
I think, yeah, in terms of Pastor Cal though, and the whole joking thing, I really feel like he thought that was it.
Yeah.
And so Pastor Cal was like, "Oh, I can come in, I can advise them about this whole joke
Yes.
situation, but that is just the tip of the iceberg for them.
Mhm.
That's not even the real thing." So the fact that he was like, "Wait, it, do y'all have chemistry?" And she was like, "Not really."
Not really. Yeah.
Not really. Then
And
he's like,
she
"Oh, I might have to go back to the drawing board."
Yeah, and she said that in the after party. She's like, "Well, it took me a while to get over not being attracted to him. This is like day 9 in their
Right.
marriage. So
Right.
if I'm not attracted to somebody, I don't know that 8 days really makes a difference."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's
um,
true.
but they're both committed, and I like
Yeah.
Shaquille. I think Kirsten knows exactly what she needs to do. Every week when she talks, I'm like, oh, she knows
Yeah.
what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Knowing what needs to be done, and then feeling chemistry enough to make that happen, those are two different things. Like when Shaq is saying, oh, I'll
Yeah.
ask her something, but then she'll pivot it back to me. We've seen
Yeah.
that in the conversations that they've
Yep.
had. So it's not surprising, but she knows what needs to be done. She just
She
has to
does.
like him enough to do it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
agree with you. She's just a very thoughtful communicator.
Mm,
And I think the way that she is putting in the energy to learn
yeah.
who her husband is. I think she's very strategic and like I said, very thoughtful about it. But
Yes.
uh
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. I wish them well.
I do too. It's gonna be like if they say no on decision day, they would have had, I feel like, a meeting about it before. Like,
Totally.
okay,
Totally.
nobody's gonna be surprised. You know how
No.
like Karen and Miles were. I
Yeah.
feel like there's a lot behind the scenes where they're like, okay, this is what I would want to be shared. This is
Right.
what, even when she was calm in that conversation with him, I
Yeah.
think it was kind of a thing where it's like, okay, I'm not about to go off script with you. If you want to
No.
act like that, you can act like that. But if I'm going
No.
to show any emotion, it's going to be when these
Right.
cameras aren't here.
Right.
So,
Right. Because, and Pastor Cal is filling up their heads with this whole power couple thing. So I think they probably feel a lot of pressure to make it work.
yes. And they did
So,
mention each of them, like in their families, like they already feel pressure from their families to
right.
be a certain, like
Right.
perform at a certain level. So
Yeah.
I think we should just take the whole power couple thing out of it and just
Yeah. Just
work on being a
relax.
couple.
Yeah.
Like,
Agreed.
let's start.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah.
Okay, that's all I have on them. I don't know if you watched the
Same.
after party, but
I did.
okay, yeah, they didn't
I
say much
did.
about them either.
Because we've been getting some really interesting tea in the after
The after
party.
party, yes.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'm
I'm
tuning
gonna
in.
watch. And now that the episodes are a little bit shorter, I'm like, okay,
Yes,
I can do
it's
the 30
manageable.
minutes of the after party. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so next, maybe Jasmine and Eris.
Yeah.
What do you think about them as a couple?
Okay. I am not a fan of Eris.
Yeah.
And that started episode 1 of this season.
Yes.
I'm going to be honest about that.
Absolutely.
And then each episode I get a new thing to not like about him.
Mm.
so I didn't really flip-flop with this couple because I don't like him. I especially don't like him for her.
Yes.
But I did soften a tiny bit at the end because of when Pastor Cal asked him to talk about what he likes about Jasmine. I was like, oh, like, and it definitely made me wonder if part of the reason why I have built up this very strong dislike of him, if that has been because of the editing. I wonder if he's getting a villain edit, and he's maybe not as terrible as he seems. Now I'm going to say not as terrible because he's still terrible. The tea that we learned last week's after party about the
sleeping with her friend.
Yes. Yeah. And that she knew, like,
yes. Yeah. You know, I feel like every episode he gives me a reason to like him and a reason to not like him.
Right, exactly. So he's not making any progress
at all. Yeah. But this episode, and I know I'm gonna get like slaughtered in the comments, but this episode, I got that he's trying to be genuine now. So he thinks the world of her now.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not the world, but he thinks highly of her.
Yeah.
For sure, like who she is as a person. But I think he just genuinely does not like her. I think it's his loss. I think Jasmine's great. But I think he's really trying to figure out, okay, I don't really like her like that, but I think she's great. Like I should like her, but I don't. Anytime on Married at First Sight that someone says, I feel like you guys gave me what I need, it means they don't want the person. Like
kiss of death.
They don't
kiss
want the person
of death.
Yeah. And so that I felt like he was, dare I say, trying to be a gentleman with her.
I know,
like, but because he said stuff in the past that was so like not gentlemanly,
right?
I just feel.
And tonight he gave us some not gentlemanly tonight too.
Exactly.
Well, I mean last night, but
last night.
Yeah. So, I'm like 5 minutes ago. It's fresh. It's all very fresh for me. When he was like, my wife is very, very attracted to me, like really attracted to me. I'm like, okay, big boy, like, good for you. Congratulations. But stop it. She's right there.
Yes.
This is not cool for her. I felt so bad for her when so then Pastor Cal was like, people have types, and Jasmine was like, I'm not his type. I felt so bad for her in that moment, but also the read that I'm getting on her is that, listen, she's a pageant queen. So I don't think we need to worry too much about her ego. I think she's fine. Like that hurts, but I don't think this is going to destroy her at all. She's just like, well, I'm here. I'm going to do this experience, but I'm not his type.
I kind of want her to stop talking about how fine she thought he was. I don't want her to say anything positive about, now that I know where he stands, I don't want her to say anything positive about him. I don't want her to do anything positive for him. I just want her to maybe even just coast for the rest of the week. Because she came in very genuine and wanted to be a wife. And I really hope that happens for her soon. Because I think she is ready.
Her DMs are going to be on fire.
And they better be.
On fire.
Yeah, she's ready to be a wife. Like even the way that, she was feeding him grapes, and I'm just like, no, he doesn't deserve it. Keep that for the person.
No, he doesn't. Yeah, exactly. He can eat his own grapes.
Yeah.
Let him feed himself.
Yes. That's the only thing I will say. I think because she's so genuine, she knows what's going on. So I agree with you. I don't think her ego is going to be too hurt. And I don't think she's like oblivious to what's going on.
No.
So I just want her to stop being nice as she is to him.
I agree with that. Yeah. And maybe her actual husband will open his mouth when he talks. I think that would be fun.
Oh my gosh. Opening his mouth, eye contact. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
The
what are
eye
you
contact
doing?
thing drives me nuts. I know it's weird, but God, at this
I
point,
I don't like him.
yeah. And
Maybe he can
I don't
call
like
old
the
girl.
cousin who's coming back next week, Felina. So that's
Ooh,
yeah,
ooh, that I don't want there to be any more of her. And the only reason why she's around is because of the drama.
yeah.
It's just the drama for her. So I don't appreciate that for Jasmine.
Yeah. So I'm glad it seems like in the previews Jasmine is gonna say more about the situation than
Yes.
she has. I think in the beginning, obviously she had just met Eris the night or so before. So she was
Right.
like, oh, that's his family. I can't say much, but I'm
Right.
looking forward to what she has to say.
Right.
Because yeah, I get what the cousin means. Like the cousin is right. Eris probably isn't ready for marriage at this stage,
Mm-mm,
but that's
mm-mm.
not Jasmine's problem. Like you don't go
No, that doesn't have
insulting her.
anything to do with her.
Exactly.
You're mad at the show and you're
Yeah.
mad at your cousin, but that's it's
Yeah,
not cool. It's not cool to attack Jasmine for that.
at all. Um, so I don't think I have anything else on them. I mean, Pastor Cal gave his advice.
Yeah,
He felt like, oh, maybe the process is weighing on Eris. I don't think that at all. Like
I don't
the
either.
thing is, I think these people know they know what they're saying. Like you said, when Kirsten said what she said what she said.
Yeah,
I think it's the same thing with Eris. I don't think it's the process that's making him feel this way. I think he's genuinely not
right.
into Jasmine, and
Yeah,
that needs to be okay for Pastor Kyle.
yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So, okay, next.
Oh boy.
Okay, oof, maybe Clint and Gina, and then
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Okay. So oh Gina.
Yeah.
So during the honeymoon,
Mhm.
I was like, put Clint on a rocket and shoot him straight into the sun. Just just get rid of him. Because how dare you? Because
Mhm.
she is a goddess, like she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
However, again, with the flip-flop, I was so proud of Clint this week
Yeah.
and so frustrated by Gina because it just okay. So first off, the first thing that made me mad about her was when Clint showed up to her apartment
Mhm.
and she did that passive aggressive thing that people do when they're like wanting to say something to somebody, but instead of just saying it, you'll do this like, I'm going to tell my dog and within earshot of the person. So when she was like, oh, what is he doing? He's so silly. Is he sitting on your bed? I was like,
Just tell him not to sit on the
just tell
bed.
him, hey, that's the dog bed. Like don't do that. So I was like, okay, that's where she's at. She's decided that she's choosing violence. So okay. She pulled an Alyssa
Oh
and or it's almost like a reverse Alyssa, but it's definitely in the Alyssa family
yeah.
where she was like, I don't think we should move in. Baby, you signed up for this.
Yes.
Nowhere in your little paperwork did it say, and okay, if your husband has red hair, you don't have to move in. Like that's what this
Yeah.
that's what this gig is
Mhm.
that you move into the apartment, which is supposed to be neutral ground.
Yeah.
And she's just like, I'm not going to. Like, you
Yeah.
can't you can't do that.
And I thought they only had one bedroom, but apparently they have two rooms. So she really has no reason to not
Right.
move in at this stage.
Mm-mm.
And I get it. She doesn't like him, but
Yeah.
this is kind of what you signed up for. So I was
Right.
also proud of him. I if you had told me in the first episode that I would
Listen,
be
my notes literally say what I did not expect was to be Team Clint in
I
any part of this relationship.
yeah, I mean, him saying like, "Okay, we signed up for it, and this is what we agreed to, so let's
That's
go
right.
ahead and go through." Like that is what you signed up for. And I think he was the one who brought up, I'll stay in the other room, you can
Yeah,
stay in this one. Like,
yeah.
so I am team Clint a lot more now.
It doesn't feel right in my mouth. It hurts a little bit. It's very jagged, but team
Yeah.
Clint right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I was impressed with him. And then Pastor Cal comes and he said something that was really good. He said, it's a step in you not being together. And
Yeah,
I live tweet the show. So on Twitter, someone was saying, "Oh no, I'm Team Gina because she realizes this isn't good for them." Okay, if she realizes that, then she needs to be done with the process. Don't say,
that part.
"Oh, I
That
want to
part.
date. Let's hang out." For what? Like,
No,
no,
no.
don't
That's
waste
not
your
what this
time.
is.
Yeah.
And I very much respected Pastor Cal in that moment where he was like, um, marriage, he had the gems with this
He did.
couple.
Yeah.
He said marriage requires great personal sacrifice, and the people who don't make it, it's regularly because they're not willing to do that.
Yeah.
And he got them to the point where he was like, okay, so either you're moving in,
You're right.
either you're moving in or we're calling it here. And she was like, yeah, I'm willing to try, but I'm not moving in.
Right.
Babe,
I just
you're
don't
not
feel
listening, babe.
comfortable.
You're not listening.
It doesn't sit well with me. I think it's even worse for me to move in here. That was the part that got me.
That
I
doesn't
think
make sense.
it's even worse for me to move in here than be outside. Girl,
No, it's not. It's not. It's not. You know what it is?
what?
She doesn't want that apartment.
Yeah.
Her apartment is better than the apartment. That's it. Period.
Yeah,
The end. She's like, "No, why would I go slum it in that apartment when I'm in the high
yeah.
rise? I can look out on the city. I got the big floofy dog bed." Meanwhile, Hank is like, "Let's do this. I'm happy here."
Hey.
Sweet Hank.
Oh
Hank has no
my
concerns.
gosh.
Hank is like, "I'm good with this guy. Let's
That is,
go."
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I was not here for her. I don't think I have much else on them except, oh, Pastor Cal did say we've started talking about what we don't like too soon.
Yes.
And I think he's absolutely right. So
Yes.
the episode a few episodes ago when Gina just kept on talking about Clint and him having
Yes.
red hair, I was like, oh my gosh, like I get it. You said it one time, but do you
Right.
have to keep on saying that?
Right.
So I could understand why his feelings were hurt. I think
Yeah.
Shaq said on the after party, like his hair is everything to him. So the
Yeah.
fact that that was
So
the
she
thing,
doesn't like it?
yeah, like that had to hurt his ego. But yeah, I
Yeah.
do think she found the thing that well, I mean, she didn't have to look hard for it, but that was the thing she didn't like. And now she's just like grabbed onto it and it's not going to be let go.
Right. And yeah, and even in in that conversation with Pastor Cal, she said, yeah, what I liked about him, I liked his beard. He has good hair. I'm the kind of person that will dig for gold. And I'm like, do you not understand how shady that is?
Yeah.
Why do you have to dig?
Yes.
Like, I have to dig to find something I like about you? Like, that's not
Right.
cool. I
Yeah.
think she and Dominique, both of them are deeply, deeply delusional about how they are coming off.
Yeah.
And they are also both team calling the pot calling the kettle black.
Mhm.
Because very, very quick to point out everything that's wrong. I mean,
Yes.
I was a little triggered. Oh, I was a little triggered by this too, because like I said, I'm a Virgo. I'm critical by nature and by training. I can very easily spot everything that's wrong
Yes.
with everybody else, and then maybe not so quick to point out those things about myself. But I'm also not on a reality show where I've married
Yes.
a stranger. So
And you know
to
yourself well enough to know that
say that, yeah.
yeah, I could never do this. So I wouldn't even I
Yeah,
wouldn't survive. I would be the person that everybody hates because I don't even think I
me
would
too.
pretend. I just can't. So I
Yeah.
might be Alyssa.
I might also be well, except for, well, yeah. Maybe not that far. No.
Right.
No, I want to say at least I would not be Alyssa. But.
Right. But yeah, so I wasn't too I think they should just call it quits. And one thing that I really hate is when you want to call it quits or they want to call it quits, but they just string the other person along. I think
Yeah.
that's a little bit what Alexis did last season with Justin, and I
Yeah.
wish she would have just like cut it off
Let it
sooner.
go.
But now that we've seen so many seasons, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
you're either in or you're out. You're not gonna
Yeah.
date this man from
Right.
like you're not gonna date your husband.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I think it was Kirsten who said it in the after party
Mhm.
that Gina is still probably
Yes.
healing from Clint's comments.
Yeah.
And I believe that's exactly what's happening, is that she was probably in it and was like Kirsten trying to work toward developing feelings toward him.
Yeah.
But when that comment came out, I think it was like, like the vault doors closed. It's over. It's a wrap. Like there's no coming back from that. And that can happen. It can be one comment. He can be deeply sorry. He can apologize the right way, the wrong way, all of the ways. And it's not going to matter because he said what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I have anything else on them. Not
No.
even from the after party. Yeah.
No. Because I have a lot about Dom and Mac. So
yeah. Oh, one thing that was funny that at the end of the after party, Keisha Napoleon asked asked Clint, like, oh, what is it that keeps you holding on, to Gina? And he was like, pretty much nothing about her. Like he's like, I just don't like to fail. I'm very determined.
Right.
So I'm still sticking to it. I was like, sheesh.
They're a wrap.
Right. Tell me you don't like her without telling me you don't like her.
Right. They are a wrap. And I'm with you, Clint, right now. I don't like her either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Gina and her salon after this season.
That's it. Gina and Hank. Although I wonder how this is. I mean, we're definitely not seeing it yet. And I feel like we're gonna lose one of these couples next week. One, if not both. But I'm wondering if the experts should have put Gina with Mac and Dom with Clint. And the thing that I think would keep that from happening would be maybe Clint doesn't want
an interracial relationship. Interesting.
Yeah. Now I'm not calling him racist. I'm not saying anything like that, but I just I think Dom would be open to Clint's adventurous personality and his positivity and his energy, but I don't know if what Clint asked for is met by Dom.
Also, she's much younger, so I don't think he asked for someone much younger.
Right.
There's that, but he is more, I guess, established by her standards from what she said.
Yeah. When he was like, "Oh, I've got my boats and blah blah blah," she was like,
"Yeah, boats. I like boats."
Yeah, right.
Do you think Jasmine and Shaquille would have been a better match?
I think he might have been a better match for her. I don't think she would be a better match for him.
Okay, yeah. I think Kirsten's who he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think his personality is what I want for Jasmine.
Yes.
It's what I want.
Yeah. So. And yes, agreed.
Okay. Yeah. So let's go on to good old Dominique and McKinley. I'll let you start with your thoughts about that.
Oh gosh. Okay. So again, the flip-flop. I came into this week. Well, no, I'd say the flip-flop has been happening over like the past 2 episodes.
Okay.
Maybe the third. It started during the honeymoon, basically, when the episode where Clint said his comments about Gina, and all of the women were like, what did you say? I very much appreciated Dom in that moment. But then the second she decided to start telling Mac about all of these things that are wrong with him, that's when I was like, that's when it turned for me.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point now, so last week, I think it was last week when she was just like this, I felt really proud of him for finally being like, okay, well, listen, where is the line between me being who you want me to be and me just being who I am?
Mm-hmm.
So I was so glad that he finally spoke up. She didn't hear him. And this week she decided to ramp that up and to be even more aggressive with him in terms of what she needs or what she wants. And then and finally he was like, okay, listen, you have to stop. Like, all you do is tell me the things about me that you don't like and the things that the ways in which I don't match with you. Mm-hmm. Now, on the after party though, she suggested that we are not seeing the way Mac is with her. And so we're like, she basically said she's getting the villain edit. And but I don't know if I buy that.
I don't either, because I saw what she's referring to as the negativity of Mac. So when he pulled up to her place and he's like, well, I'm I'm the big loser who lives in the basement, so that's it. When I could understand him being in his feelings about that, and then imagine like being in your feelings about something with your partner, and then you still have to keep filming, so you don't even have that time to sit down and say, hey, you said this and it hurt me. So he goes into her apartment with a different energy. He's like, oh, I really need to look around. I don't like,
you didn't look around mine
here. Yes, he's like, I don't want to be here, and that was his entire energy. So I feel like I saw the negativity that she's referring to.
Sure,
but it was a little bit, I'm not gonna say it was warranted, but it's very understandable, you know, what's going on here.
I agree. He it reads to me as he's tired of her ish.
And anybody
he's tired of it.
Yes.
And I think her and then when they were in the car and he was, she was like, so, how are you doing? And he was like, I'm not great, right? Because I'm definitely feeling away because it's essentially everything I do is wrong. You hate everything about me. And the topic of the dogs came up. And so after she's poking at him, he's just fed up. He's had enough of her energy. So it's very interesting when she's like, I'm all about positive vibes, baby. No, ma'am. No, you are not. Because you're dragging this man to the edge every single day.
And she might be
closer.
Yeah, she might be positive vibes, but with him, she's not. And I think that's what she needs to see. Like, you don't like him, so you're a different way with him than you would be with anybody else.
She's attacking him. She is. And then with the passive aggression, I really am not into it. So when she was like, are we really having an argument about your dogs? Yes, ma'am, we are. Because it's not just about the dogs. Like, it's, we are having an argument about the dogs because it's about that and so much more.
Yeah, even insinuating that he doesn't care about his dogs to a certain extent, like, well, you've been here all this time and they don't live here. Like, okay, that don't.
And then she's like, I'm not doing that. Yeah, you are.
You really are. And granted, she has valid points. Like she was saying on the after party, he doesn't have any like roots here, so none of his stuff is there, and he could really just get in his car with his like overnight bag and leave. So I think that's a very valid point. But I think that on top of her not liking his corny jokes and just like feeling a way about him anyway.
She just doesn't like him.
Yeah, she just doesn't like him.
Yeah,
And
she just doesn't like him.
yeah, I felt bad for him this episode, and I haven't felt bad for him in the last weeks. I was also proud of him for saying, "Okay, can I be myself?" And he's not my favorite person on the
No,
show, but
no.
I have to say that she's just been a little hard on him.
Yeah, she is down with Eris in my ranking right now.
Yeah.
Like I don't like her. And it's not it's not that I don't like Eris. Like there's no I'm not going to qualify that. And I feel like I do like her, but
Yeah.
I don't like how she's acting right now
Yes.
in these last couple of episodes. And I think it's her immaturity is showing is really what's going on. Um
Yep.
you know, the fact when she's like, I'm just over it. I was like, oh, you know what I mean? Oh, poor baby. Like I
Right.
was frustrated by that.
Mhm.
Um, and she's also, you know, I know it was like the word of the year in 2022, and maybe we're trying to let it go, but she is such an expert at gaslighting.
Mm.
That's exactly what she's doing to him. And she may not even be conscious of the fact that she's doing it. But when
Yeah.
she's like, I'm not gonna have petty arguments. Ma'am, you started the petty argument though. So what are you talking about? Right?
Yeah.
Um, the last thing I want is for this to spiral. It what? You
Right. You
dragged
want the
me
thing
into
that's
a
already
blender.
spiraling? Like,
You dragged us into a blender. What do you mean you don't want us to spiral? You
yeah.
hit blend.
Yes. I don't get her. I think she had a concern about the whole dog situation too. But it's like
Yeah.
if the dogs aren't even living here, why are you picking this fight right now?
Yep. Thank
I
you.
think it's just like, oh well, I don't like this, or now I'm gonna add it. Oh, he said that, he breathed the wrong way, like I'm gonna add that. And so she's definitely one who needs to step away. She do you know how much energy it takes to take all your stuff from that you just
And the
brought
fact that she was willing, she's like, yes, I will go take it and put it all back downstairs.
I just cannot imagine. And so Pastor Cal comes and she
Yes.
says before he came, McKinley had this energy of, I didn't get the things that I want and this, that, and the other. And so she
Right.
said he was being negative, which if that's the stuff he was saying, I understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get why he was saying that because she's putting out on Front Street, well, you're nothing that I wanted. And she's been doing it for the
Right.
last, 7 days, and they've only been
Right.
married 9. So I can't be mad that he is
Yeah.
retaliating in that way. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So Pastor Cal comes and he, Pastor Cal said, I have the receipt. You said you
Exactly.
want
Exactly. He read them for Phil.
He did. He
Yeah.
did. He's like, y'all not gonna play on my face. He's been seeing
No.
the tweet of us saying, saying these experts don't match people based on what they need. He's like, no, we did it this time.
Right. She said, you got some explaining to do. He was like, no, you got some
You
explaining to do. Don't
exactly,
do that. Mm-mm.
exactly.
No.
It was interesting to me when McKinley was like, "Oh, you could have taken me to a tent and I would have been satisfied." And while I understand what he was trying to say, I'm like, okay, it's a little bit different because if she was
Yep.
looking for a secure man and you're not like exhibiting security by her standards, that's a little bit
Right.
different. So while I appreciate you saying that she could have taken you to a tent, it's just not the same thing.
Right.
But yeah, Pastor Cal didn't see the living situation as a deal breaker.
No.
I think if McKinley, which he's clearly not in the state to do that right now, but if
Yeah.
McKinley could somehow reassure her, like, hey, I am here to stay. I do want the marriage. I do have
Yeah.
a plan. I'm financially stable and I do want to find a house. Or if he could maybe give her that plan.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not Dom, but if this were a different spouse, and
Someone.
yes, if he could give that plan, then
Yeah.
I would feel a little bit more comfortable
Right.
with, his living situation. I can see how for a show like this, it's
Yeah.
probably a red flag. And then when you add on the fact that he's paired with someone who doesn't like him at all,
Mhm.
it is a deal breaker.
Right. But
Yeah.
she said that she did like him at first. Like she was attracted to him
Mhm.
and he was attracted to her as well. I don't know. I'm so perplexed by them because I had really good vibes about them coming in.
Really?
I think I thought that her, because I think the little, the I don't remember what it's called right now, but the little description
Oh,
that they
yes.
give of her, isn't it
Old
like the old
soul.
soul?
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm like, no,
I don't see.
no, she's not. She's
No.
not an old soul. She's a 25-year-old.
Yes.
And and that doesn't, I mean, listen, I remember 25 very well. I felt like I was ready for marriage too. Turns out I was not. Turns out I was not. And but that's a path that you have to eat. It's not it's an individual path. Each
Yeah.
individual has their own path. And it's not that a 25-year-old period
Yes. Yeah.
is not ready for marriage, but this 25-year-old is not.
And she keeps saying, I feel like we just need to have fun. Like that's that for her
That's
is
a
her.
very
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, that's very young. Like she's a
yeah,
young 25, I think.
that's what I'm saying.
So she needs someone who's more it's like on the one hand, she wants someone who is established,
Yeah.
but if you're having marital problems and your thing is, oh, we just need to have more fun, like let's do more adventurous things.
That's not it.
That would sound like a solution to me.
Exactly. I think you're so right about that. She's saying that she wants somebody more established, but what she really wants is somebody who's just like her.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
So, which
Yes.
is fine, but just
Yeah,
that's not this show.
it isn't. Yeah.
Yeah. And that is actually a lesson for us to all take,
Hmm.
is knowing the difference between what you think you should want and what you actually want.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge takeaway from this. I think she said that she wants somebody who's established and all of that. Um, because it sounds good and it sounds like something you're supposed to want.
Hmm.
But if a marriage is meant to be based on love, I don't know that love, I don't know that you develop those feelings of love
Yeah.
because somebody has a home. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that's not what lasting love is built on. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's just not.
I know. To the after party, I know Kirsten was saying, because Keisha Knight Pulliam asked her, she's like, "Oh, what do you think about Dominique's situation?" She's like, "Well,
Let
Dominique,
me tell you, girl.
she was like, I'm gonna be honest,
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you.
right?" She's like,
Yep.
"I do feel like you're nitpicking every single thing that he does,
Yep.
and nobody wants to be disliked out loud like that, like that.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit much."
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think I have anything else from the after party. Kirsten still didn't say much about the situation, so who
Mm-mm.
knows with that.
Mm-mm.
um, yeah, I think that's it. That's all I have.
Yeah, me too. But in the preview for next week though,
Yes.
I'm big nervous. I'm really nervous that we're gonna lose either, I think, um, Gina and Clint
Mhm.
or Dom and Mac.
Who do you think is gonna go first?
Dom and Mac.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well, because because she's got that 25-year-old energy to be like, well, I'm out.
Ish.
Like I'm out. That's a generational feature where like that I don't have to do this. I don't
My
have
back
to.
is calling me.
Yeah. So
I'm
she's like,
going
I'm not
home.
doing this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we will be here next week.
Yes,
We
we
have a
will.
new podcast episode dropping tomorrow. It will be on the YouTube channel, so please check that out. Tomorrow, we're actually talking about classic Black movies that we love, but that are
Oh,
very problematic. So, the Love and Basketball, Love Jones, all of that. So, it should be a good episode. And then
cool.
we'll be back with our review next Thursday. All right. See you guys
Sounds
later.
good.
Bye.
Bye.